when you take one quiet photo, one relaxing pattern, and one coffee-fueled crafter. You get a page full of heart and a Zentangle tribute too sweet to skip. Stick around to see how it all comes together, including the story behind the cat in the photo. Hi, it's time once again for coffee, crafting, and cats with the Ginger Cat Lady. I'm Pam, and Harley, well, he's currently curled up pretending he's not invested in this whole thing I've got going on, but we both know he's supervising. So today for Waste Not Wednesday, I'm working with a vintage photo that turned into something a little unexpected. This photo features a woman elegantly posed in the early 1900s, but it turns out that the real star is the cat in her lap. His name was Buzzer, the beloved studio cat of famed photographer Arnold Genthy, I believe is how you pronounced it. He took some of the most famous photos of the San Francisco earthquake. She didn't own him. She was just lucky enough to share the frame with him once. So instead of just adding a decorative element, this page became something more, part pattern, part pocket, and part quiet tribute. We're using a single Zentangle design to create a soft, dreamy flip up. No perfection required. And the reason we're doing Zentangle is because today is Z is for Zentangle for the hashtag ABC April 2025 challenge. This project is great for crafters of all levels, especially if you're in the mood for something calm, cozy, and completely customizable. So let's get cozy and get started. The supplies you're going to need for this project are very few. I have a gold Uniball pen, gel pen. I have a white Papermate Ink Joy Gel 0.7 pen. Some washi tape that I don't like the color, but it still works for holding things down. A vintage photo. 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter graph paper and a form of like a light box kind of thing. And I'll explain these two things when we get going into this a little bit further. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on this. So this is the photo that I'm going to be working with. It's actually another image of the same cat from Monday's Xerox transfer, which makes this feel like a little visual continuation of before. I've printed it on regular copy paper, and what I'm going to do is tape this graph paper to the light board, and then this image will get taped to the graph paper. The grid is going to help keep me on track as I draw. Now listen, I know. Zentangle does not mean you've got grids and light boxes and all that stuff. I tried to freehand. I really honestly tried to freehand this pattern. I really did. But my brain said, absolutely not. So if you're like me and need a little structure, then this grid method is magic. I am a complete perfectionist. The one that I tried without the grid, oh goodness. It just, it was horrible. And I've done them before and had them come out somewhat okay, but they were in smaller spaces and a square shape. So I need some help. All right. So the pattern that let me go ahead and get this set up and then we'll talk about the pattern that I'm going to use for this. So I'm just going to tape this. Actually, let's start out by taping our image to the, oh good, that's not too bright. I was worried it was going to be too bright. So I'm just going to take this, and I don't know if you can see that, I can see the grid lines through there, but I'm going to line this up so that my edges are at the edge of the grid line. And the reason this is, I went over this in marker so that I could see it a little bit better. Actually, I'm going to turn it around this way so we've got more room. pattern that I'm going to use, I found in a video tutorial that I'll link below. I don't know the name of the pattern. Unfortunately, it did not say in the video tutorial, but it's a simple, rhythmic, and relaxing pattern once you get going. And if you're a perfectionist like me, have a grid to help you. All right. So I'm going to start down here in the bottom. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from one corner to the other, kind of arching just a little bit. And I'm going to use my white gel pen to start with. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start up here at the top. And I'm going to, okay, well, I can't do it there because there's a cat's paw. Okay. So I'm just going to echo over here. And I know it's not called echo, it's called something else, but I can't remember what it's called. And that's all we're going to do there because the cat's paw is there. Okay. Now this one, I'm going to start at the corner intersection of my next row up. And I'm going to make a pointy curving line down to the top of that one. And then a pointy curving line until it meets the cat's paw. And that's where I'm going to stop. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the line inside. Then I'm going to, from here, I'm going to do another one up to this corner. And I'm going to echo it. And then the same thing to where his paw is. That's as far as I can go with this one because there's nowhere else to go with that. Okay. I'm not going to be able to do anything on this side of the photo until we get up here because what we're trying to do is just go around the background to kind of make it look like it's like a wallpaper background. Okay. All right. Next row up. We're going to start in our grid here. We're going to go from the corner down to this point. And then from the middle to that point, and the middle to that point, middle to there, middle till we get to the cat's paw. And then here we've got some of her clothing, so we can't do it there either. Okay, so now we're just going to draw the lines that go inside, trying to make them consistently the same thickness. I know it doesn't always happen, and that's okay. All right, this isn't supposed to be a stressful thing. It's supposed to be zen and relaxing, right? Yeah, if you're a perfectionist, doing something like this is not zen and relaxing. All right, I'm going to move it down just a little so I can see it a little bit better, and I'm going to zoom in a little more for you as well. Oh, okay, I can't move it down and zoom in. That doesn't work. Okay. Hope I'm not making you seasick there. Okay. All right, so this next one, we're going to start at the point and curve out and down to there. I'm going to do the same thing all the way across, trying really hard to make it a pointy curved out line instead of a round curved out line. Okay, here we're running into her sleeve, so we're not going to go anywhere else there. So we're just going to make our line go here. Okay. And then we're going to curve from here to that point. I love this gel pen because it dries really quick. I mean, I don't want to sit here and try and smear it, but it dries really quick. I've been practicing the last couple days and haven't smeared one once. I guess I should not say that because I Could jinx myself, right? So you could definitely do this pattern freehand if that's your vibe and you feel comfortable with that and you're an artist. I'm not an artist. I'm a paper crafter. But I saw this and I thought, oh my gosh, this looks like so much fun. And I wanted to do it for a while. And then I was trying to think of something for the letter Z for ABC, April 2025. And I was looking at words that started with Z and I saw Zentangle. And I'm like, oh, yes, now I can do this. So if your lines get wonky or you end up off grid a bit, just roll with it. I promise your finished page won't really care if you do it slow and try not to go too far off. All right, we can come. I started here. So when you start running into the clothing, but you still have room, what I do is I put my pen where I would start and I move my pen to where the clothing ends and then draw that line. Okay, so that's where that line would come from, is right there. All right. Okay. Remember, Zentangle is not about perfection. It's about slowing down and letting the lines carry you. It's supposed to be stress-free and relaxing. And if you get tired or distracted, because if you go slow and take your time on something like this, it's going to take some time. So if you get tired or you get distracted, it's completely fine to take a break because this pattern is pretty forgiving. It's not like if you stop somewhere that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, where did I stop? How am I going to pick this back up? There's no problems with that whatsoever. I'm going to stop talking and just work. And if I think of something, then I will add it. The problem with the other one that I was doing where I had a lot of trouble was that the image was dark and the background was dark, and I had a lot of trouble distinguishing between where the person's clothing started and stopped. And so it was a lot harder to do. So in fact, it was the image that I used in Monday's video that I was trying to do this with, and it just was not working. But then I was really excited when I was able to find another photo of a woman with a cat and found out that it was the same cat, Buzzer. Okay, now I know I've got this pattern over here that I need to finish, but I'm thinking it's going to be a whole lot easier for me to figure that pattern out once I get up here and am able to do this pattern here and then across, and I'll be able to figure it out a little bit better. One more row. And I'm really not sure how to do this row up here. Because it's not a full row. We have a border that is right there. I don't know if you can see that border in there, but it makes it a little tough to see what I'm doing there, or to do what I need to do there. So, well, no, there we go. So I'm going to act like I'm starting up here, and I'm going to draw down until I get to my spot. And the same thing here. I'm going to draw down until I get to my spot. Okay, now that gives me an idea of what I need to do with all of the rest of them. That makes it a lot easier. Doesn't that look cool? I just love how it looks like wallpaper behind her and just makes her pop. Just absolutely makes her pop. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my gold pen, and the pattern that I saw had like a line and a dot that went up in it, and I didn't like that pattern. So I am just going to go through and make a little gold dot in the ones that I can. I think ideally on these, they should have started in the middle and had half of a line that went, had half of a line that went, but the one that I saw started at the side, but I also didn't take into consideration that they weren't doing it with a grid. So, but it doesn't look horrible the way it is. So I'm happy. All right, and there's our finished photo. Zentangled vintage photo. I love how it turned out. I just love how she pops. All right, so what I'm going to do is clear all of this off, and get the materials that I want for the next part of this. We're going to make this into a flip. I'm trying to decide if I want to do a flip over or flip, like a flip out so it goes out of the journal, or if I want to do it as a flip up. Haven't figured that out yet. So I will be right back with what we need. I've got my journal. Let's find a page that we can put this on. I hope that's going to fit on a page. Yeah, it will. Okay. So this cat right here is the same cat that is in this photo. This is Buzzer. Let's see this page right here. I think I found the perfect time of night to work on journals because Harley's asleep. He came up once or twice, didn't he? But that was it. I love it. I mean, I love having him, up here with me and stuff too, but sometimes he gets very annoying. All right, so we're going to put it on this page. So let me scooch that out of the way because the first thing we need to do is cut this out. I don't know if this is centered. Oh my God, I am in love with that. I'm sorry. I found a spot that needs a gold dot. There we go. A spot that needs a dot. Okay. I'm just going to do it with my scissors. I am going to need to back it on something. So pull out my junk mail tub here, or basket. And I want something kind of sturdy. I could use my file folder, but I want something a little more sturdy because it's going to be flipping up. And I do have some things that I want to put inside it. Will that one work? Yes. Okay, I shall use that. Okay, so added to that list is a piece of junk mail for to make your flip out a little more sturdy. I'm sure you noticed that even though I had the grids that I was using, I still got wonky, and I'm okay with it because I think it turned out okay. Now, I do promise you that would have taken me a whole lot longer if I would have done it without the grid. And it would have looked okay, but it wouldn't have looked as uniform as it does now. So I think that's one thing that really helps. Okay, so before we get any further, what I want to do is glue this onto here. But before we do that, this is a very slick surface, so I'm going to grab my little sander. And I'm going to scuff this surface up so that it has some tooth to it. So it has something, when I put the glue on there, it's got a little bit of something to grip to and isn't so slippery. All right. And then we're going to do the same to this side. And I'm not perfectly sanding it. I'm not like making sure the entire surface is all like perfectly scuffed up. I do want to make sure that for the most part that, there's this shiny is gone. The other thing you could do with this, if you don't want to sand it, is you could take some gesso and paint some gesso over top of it. That serves two purposes. If you've got a thinner piece of paper that's light, it will help to sorry, what am I trying to say? It will help to knock back some of that color, as well as make it so that surface is better able to take some glue too. So you could do it with gesso, you could do it with white acrylic paint, or just sanding it down like this works as well. Got our nori paste. I'm going to put the nori on here. But before I do that, what I'm going to do is, if I can find my pencil, there's a pencil. All right. I'm going to put my image on here and mark where I need to glue to so that I don't end up gluing the entire thing. But this is just going to be a general, and then once we get it glued on there and it to dry, then we can cut it out. And then work on the other side. I think for the other side, we will just put some copy dyed paper on the back so that it can be used as a journaling card as well as flip out. Okay, so we want to leave our glue within that area. Okay, let's get this cut out. That part is done. I'm just going over this again because I noticed that it felt like we were getting some wrinkles right here in the face area. And I want to make sure it's down nice and good, has good contact, and try and prevent as many wrinkles as I possibly can. Wrinkles and air bubbles. I'm going to get some glue on the back of this. Right? Sorry. Scissors were stuck on the heat tool. And there's our journaling card, the back of our journaling card. So I'm going to let this dry and think about what I want to do to it. Okay, it is time to decorate this journal page using the card that I made. So here's the plan. I am going to put the journal card down here. And behind the journal card is going to be a pocket that we can then add this cute little tag that I made, as well as this little quote from Arnold Gente. I don't know. It's a German name. I don't know how to say it. And so that will go back here behind as well. And then this will cover that up. Okay. So I think the first thing I need to do is to get this on here, because this may need to be placed on top of whatever I use for the hinge on the bottom part. All right. So for the hinge, I have this pocket was a piece of a collage that I had done before, and I've got this little part that was cut off of it. So I figured I would cut that and use it. It's going to be a nice strong hinge because it's on a piece of, actually 2 pieces of book page, I believe, that were glued together. And then it's got the layers on it. So that should make it a little bit stronger. So my thought is to cut this down. We're going to make a mark at 4 centimeters there and at 4 centimeters there. Hopefully that will work for us. All right. So I'm going to line this up along that line and that one. And then goes there. Come on, line up. Okay, next thing I want to do is I want to score these. I want them to bend this way. So I'm just going to score this down the middle so that I can so that I can use it to so that I can fold it a little bit easier. Although I don't think, yeah, that's not going to work. Okay, because it's too thick. So a scoring board will not work if you've got something really thick. I do not, however, want to just fold it because it is so thick. It'll make it so that it's harder to fold, and it'll fold with like a little crease in it, and I don't want that. So what we're going to do instead is we're just going to line this up. And we're going to take our scoring tool and we're just going to score right along that. And I think I'll use this too because that has a little bit sharper of an edge. There we go. Okay. Perfect. That made, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a little score line right there. And a little bit of my collage coming up. Apparently not enough glue on that piece right there. Okay, come on. Glue dude's not putting glue out. There we go. Okay. Get that glued down. That was nice and messy, Pam. All right. And then we will fold this over in half. And the back side doesn't matter because it will be glued to the back of the photograph. So it's not a big deal. All right. So there's that one. And then we are going to do the same thing with this one. All right. So the first thing I want to do is figure out where I'm going to put this. So this isn't going to be attached to here. It's going to be behind it. So I want this here, which means I am going to have to attach. It's going to attach on this side over here. So when this is glued down, it needs to be behind that pocket. Yeah. Yeah. So this needs to be glued down first, and then the pocket can be glued down where it needs to go. All right. Actually, it goes this way, not the other way. We'll fold like that. Okay. So I'm going to glue the hinge on to my page, and I'm just going to do one at a time. So then I can line it up the way that I want it to be lined up and not have to fight both of them. That just seems to me to make it a whole lot easier. Because if I have 2 of them that I'm trying to glue down to the page at the same time, I fear I may drive myself insane. So let's get some glue on this side of the flap. All right, and I want it to open out that way, so this needs to go on this side. Ooh, before I do that, we need to do some inking. I just love how ink just adds that little extra bit of personality and depth to the page. I mean, nice clean pages are a thing, and there's people that really like that. And there is, I think, to me, it's depends on the style of journal that you're doing. If I'm doing a journal that's a kid's journal with, say, I'm doing a little golden book, I'm not going to ink because that's not what I want it to look like. I want it to be more clean because the pages are more clean and the style. But because this is vintage and the page that it's going on has the staining from the coffee crystals, I want it to look vintage. I do not, however, no, I don't want to ink this side. I'm afraid it's going to like mess it up, and I don't want to do that. So, okay, not inking that part. Okay, let's try this again. All right, so I want to glue it to this side, so it's on this side that I'm gluing it. And now that my glue is all over my fingers instead of on the hinge, let's go ahead and put some more glue on there. Third time's a charm, maybe? Come on. Come out of there. Oh my goodness, my glue stick, Gluebert, is not cooperating. There we go. All right. Much better. Thank you, sir. Okay. I want to make sure I've got a good, a little bit more glue on here than I normally do because I want this hinge to stay. All right, now I forgot already. Okay. All right, so I am going to put this on here. The fold needs to be right at the edge in order for it to work. So, if you put it in too far on your part that you're flipping out or folding out, it's not going to fold the right way. However, the other side does not need to be at the edge. It can be anywhere. All right, there's that one. And I want it to be down here more and inside a little bit. So when we glue it down, flip out, just like that. Okay. I do want to be able to show a little bit of that edge. Do we center it and then flip it out, or do it over to the side? Let's do it over to the side. You know what? I don't know if I like this with this pattern. Okay, I want to do it like that. And what I want to do, just for frame it, well, no, I don't need to do it that way. All right, let me lift this up. I want to make sure that I am straight on here. Okay, put that there. And then that way I can line it up here where I want it. Although my cutting wasn't straight, but oh well. All right, hold it there. I'm going to put some glue on this hinge. You want to make sure that your hinge does not stick over the edge of whatever whatever it's attached to, because otherwise it won't open when you try to open it. It will not open because it's got that part in the way. So as long as you've got it back, as long as it's lined up with what you have here, then you're okay. Okay. I'll fold this back. And just for a second, I want to put that on there. Okay, hopefully that's set up enough that I can move it without, yeah, perfect. Okay. So now I'm just going to do the same thing down here at the bottom. I'm going to put some glue in here and attach it. I'm going to clip those down and let them dry for a little bit, and then we will move on to putting the pocket behind it, and then we will be finished. I want to soften this edge up over here just a little bit, and bring a little bit of some like beigeish tannish color into this picture. And I think it's okay to do that because the gold is kind of leaning that way. So I've got my lace out, and I think, yeah, let's see how this one looks. I put it, yes, that's perfect. Okay. All right, let's cut a piece of this off. We'll glue that part on after we do the pocket on the inside so that I'm not messing with it and making it come undone. So, all right. Pocket. All right. So I need to make sure that my pocket, I want my pocket to be inside of because I don't want to see it. I want it to be a surprise that when you open it up, you got this little pocket here. Okay. Why aren't you opening flat? Hello. You did it just a minute ago. There we go. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to put some glue on the sides of this and then glue this down right here. And because it's gluing over top of something that is thicker, and because I've got, because this is thick anyway, the paper itself is thick, I'm going to use my Barely Arts glue. Excuse me. I'm putting a little bit more down on the bottom because it doesn't matter if I lose a little bit of space down there. I just don't want to lose too much space on my sides because I didn't make this a whole lot wider than what my tags are. So because of the fact that I'm trying to hide it. So, all right, are we getting that on there straight? Okay. Put this on here. Try to put this on here. There we go. I want that to set up not only on that tab, but also on the onto the paper itself. And because it's just barely over it, I figured if I put the clip on in that spot, then that'll help. All right. Then I'm gonna squeeze this. Sorry if I keep going out of shot. Okay, we can put some more glue on that if we need to. I think it's going to stay. All right, let's move you down here. It feels like it's going to lift. I'm not sure. Yeah, it has. Okay. Need something flat under there to push it down onto. There we go. Because my book is bendy right there, curvy. It curves right there. There we go. With the other pages underneath. And it was hard to push it down that way. Okay. So the pocket is on. Oops, I was pull the wrong thing out. Okay. Pocket is on. Let's stick we've got the little quote from the book about Buzzer himself. Oh, there we go. Okay. So that'll go in there. And then I've got this little card or journal card that I had previously made that I just pulled out of my stash. That will go in here as well. And this flower is from a stencil that I have that I also stenciled it onto the back of this card. Okay. I decorated a lot of this stuff off camera just because I wanted the focus of this to be on the Zentangles, not on making the pocket and the journaling card and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so that'll go in there. And then that, hopefully, when we close it, does it disappear? It disappears. Oh, it doesn't down on the bottom. Oh, I didn't glue it on straight. Well, it disappears enough that you can't really see it because I apparently didn't glue my pocket on straight, but oh well, too late. All right, let's get the lace glued on here. And then I'm thinking that we need a quote or something up here, like just sort of a little title. All right. I'm going to put my glue on this strip right here because there's more, it's a closer weave there. And then once that dries, I will trim the top of it. I don't want to mess with it right now because I have it placed where I want it and I don't want it to move. Okay. Oh, that's cute. I'm wondering if we need like a little flower down there. Okay, I want something that's small. I'm afraid these are all too big because I want a single flower is what I want. And I'm wondering, this is a clear sticker, but I'm wondering if maybe that might work if I put it on. Oh, that's pretty, but that's the wrong color. What about that? If I have that sticking over, it's going to stick. And I really don't want to cut it. See, that's the thing. I don't feel like fussy cutting right now. I had to turn my camera off and upload the footage that I've taken so far just so that we could continue. So that is done. I decided on this flower, so we're going to go ahead and use that. But I feel like there should be a little tag or something there. So let me look and see what we could do here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I think that's perfect right there. All right. All right, so let's get that glued on. I want to ink some edges first. Okay, we will get this flower on, and then I have some of Tim Holtz's snarky statements that I have a couple that I pulled out that I need to take a look at and figure out which one I like better. All right, let's cut the extra lace off up here. And I'm actually going to save that. That can go into like a little collage or something. The last thing we need to do is put a statement up there. I have everyone seems normal until you get to know them. They say good things take time. That's why I'm always late. That's me. You couldn't handle me even if I came with instructions. That's me too. Always remember that you're unique just like everyone else. I think I'm going to do this one. Always remember that you're unique just like everyone else. I'm going to cut this one where the sentences split. And then that way it will take up just a little bit more room up there at the top. That was just too big of a blank space for me. All right, let me get all of this cleaned up and we will take a better close-up look of this. And that's our page. One simple Zentangle, a flip-out journal card, and a quiet little mystery tucked beneath the paper. That woman may have only posed for a single photo once, but the cat in her lap, that was Buzzer, Arnold Genta's studio cat, present for famous actresses, presidents, and dancers. I love the idea that she became part of his story just for a moment. And now we get to carry that story forward in ink, dots, and a hidden quote. If you'd like to learn more about Buzzer, check the description below. And if you had fun crafting along with me today, don't forget to come back on Friday. I'll be showing you how I'm transforming my mostly unused April planner into a 3-month planner for May, June, and July with some Finish It Friday touches to make it functional and fun. If you enjoyed this project, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps other crafters find our little corner of the internet. And if you missed Monday's Xerox transfer video, click here. That's where this cozy cat story first began. And as always, may your scraps be endless and your glue never dry. See you in the next one. Bye.